Hello everyone. Today we are going to be 3D modeling, printing, and catching a fish on the coil worm. So let's get started. As always, we're going to use FreeCAD, and we're going to start off by modeling the head. Such a nice little head. Look at that little guy. Next, we're going to model a path for a swept profile to do our body. And just as the name implies, it's going to be a nice, beautiful little coil here. Now that we got our coil how we want it in our sketcher, we're going to go ahead and sweep that profile. To do that, we're going to need three different sketches really, two cross sections in the coil path. And that coil is going to want to come back in on itself. When you pause this lure in the water, it's going to want to come back to that natural shape it was molded in. And now that we've got the body made, we can go ahead and make the actual mold shell that we're actually going to make the lure from. So that's really easy. Sketch profile, pad, and then a Boolean operation to cut that body out of the mold. Just using a combination of the assembly workbench and the part workbench to do that. And we're just going to transform that mold around until we get it where we want it. And once we get it where we want it, we need to get the nozzle added in so we can actually fit the injector into the mold and do what we need to do with it. And now that we know where roughly everything is going to be, we're going to go ahead and add our through holes so we can bolt these molds together, get them nice and clamped together. After I printed this first round of this ones, I noticed I didn't really put enough holes in. I'm going to go back in and add these holes before I put them on my website, where anybody could purchase either the 3D printed mold themselves or the CAD file to print it themselves if they wanted to. And we'll see later on when we're injecting this thing why it's important to have the correct number of holes for those bolts. And while I was rambling about bolt holes, we did our Boolean, and here's our part, our first half of the mold. Next step here is just to do a mirror operation to get the other half, and then we're ready to print. Alright, there's our other half of the mold, and we are ready to print. Just like all of my other lure designs, we're going to use fan favorite Orca slicer and PETG filament for our mold body. I use PETG filament because it holds up better than PLA, costs the same, prints easy, and just all around for this type of stuff, great filament. I might try in later videos like a polycarbonate or nylons or ASAs, ABSs, anything like that just to see. But I have a non-enclosed printer and the PETG just works really well. And nylon and polycarbonate are just a pain to keep dry. And here I actually forgot to record a couple clips of the thing printing, but no big deal. We went ahead and printed out the molds. I got some other molds I wanted to cast some lures of here. Again, all these molds are available on my website, www.3dprintedmolds.com. Go there, check them out, see my other videos if you want to see what else I got going on. And you could see these ones, the smoke coming out of the mold. I kind of figured I didn't have enough bolts in these to get them clamped together tight as soon as I printed them, but I just wanted to go ahead and try them anyway because I had them printed out. And they ended up coming out relatively okay with some trimming, you'll see. But again, that's just more bolts. And then I went ahead and filmed the pouring the rest of the baits. I got my squiggles there. I've got my my hydra worm. Smallmouth absolutely love that hydra worm. It is a killer for smallmouth on the river. Squiggles, they also seem to really like squiggles. My brother-in-law did really well the last time we were out. Anyway, now we're gonna go ahead and tear apart these molds, get this flash off the side of them, and grab our little Allen key and start pulling these things apart. Quick speed montage. Rip those bolts out. Alright, first big reveal here. I hope it's a coil worm because, well, it'd be really concerning if it wasn't. And look at that, there we go. There's, on this you could see there's, not bad on this one, but some of the other ones had a lot of flashing on them. And again, the more bolts and the better clamped together these molds are, the less flashing you're going to get. And then if you want to 3D print these yourselves, you can iron that top surface and get less flashing. One thing I did notice with this mold is you needed to pour a little bit extra in that nozzle cavity just so you didn't get a squishy head like this one. Personally, as long as the lure looks right, I don't think it really matters if there's minor imperfections like that, but some people are bothered by them, so I've caught fish with defects like that. Anyway, they don't care. Anyway, on this one, this is one that I did get enough um, plastic in the tip there, and it was much more solid, as you can see here. And then on these next few, you can really see what I'm talking about with needing more bolts, because this one's going to have the most flashing on that coil there. And again, you could peel it off. It's not a super big deal, but I'd like to prevent it when you can. Then first time out, I caught this nice largemouth out on my kayak on the lake, pulled him right out of these logs here, and that was my first fish on the coil worm. So if you thought this was interesting and maybe wanted to give it a try yourself, everything you saw here and more is available at www.3dprintedmolds.com. Hope to see you there.